Yo, 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 what's going on, world? It's your boy, Ryan Tigey, back in action once again. What a great week 3 to wrap up the NFL season. A few things that immediately come to mind I definitely want to get into with you guys, so stick around. I'll make it short and sweet and to the point, but definitely some good takeaways that I think everybody would most likely feel the same. So that's what I'm going to get into. NFL week 3 wrapped up, on to week 4. Let's get it going. I have noticed watching the Raiders play football, I don't think Josh Daniels is a good coach. This is topic 1. The Raiders, being a Bay Area native, it was always one or the other. Now, San Francisco 49ers were always the dominant franchise, whether you're just looking at championships or you're just talking about fan base. We are the New York Yankees of the Bay Area. And that's when the Raiders were Oakland growing up all my life. When they moved to Vegas, I think it was the best financial play and just overall play because the city of Oakland was never going to let that happen, and it kind of just turned into dog shit. I actually played at Oakland Coliseum my senior year in high school. Shout out 2007. We lost to De La Salle in the downpour, but it was fun as fuck playing in the Oakland Coliseum. Pivot to today and what we're seeing from the Raiders. Number 1, I don't think Josh Daniels is a good coach. I don't. The guy doesn't seem to know what the fuck he's doing. People are, talking shit about basic math that he can't do with kicking, going for 3 points versus trying to go for a touchdown when you're down 8 with not that much time left, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, etc., etc. Outside of Josh McDaniels, the one thing that is glaring, and maybe it's due to recency bias, is Jimmy G. I screamed out loud talking to my girl the other day when I saw such a Jimmy G pick. Doing the whole pointing, going out, gonna bomb it downfield, telling his guy where to go, to then throwing it into triple coverage and having it be an insanely dumb play and an easy interception for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I believe Jimmy G is the leader in the interception space, which doesn't surprise me. When he was on the Niners, I was always rooting for Jimmy G, but God damn it, every single game, you're wondering, when is that one pick going to come? When is that one boneheaded play going to come? Which I think in part leads to why Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy G had some friction in their relationship, because Jimmy G was the best option at that time, no doubt about it, but Kyle Shanahan knew it was coming, just like all the fans did, and sure as shit, it always came. To that point of talking about the Kyle Shanahan-Jimmy G relationship, I think this highlights even more so how good of a coach Kyle Shanahan is. Kyle Shanahan, everyone calls him the offensive play caller wizard, the genius. His disciple, Mike McDaniels, who is absolutely fucking crushing it in Miami, putting a 70 spot against the Denver Broncos. It shows what kind of play caller he is, and now that we have Brock Purdy at the helm, it's not even debatable. Brock Purdy has a better arm. He's more mobile, and he reads the defenses a lot better. I think the only thing Jimmy G has on him is potentially a quicker release, but it doesn't matter when you don't have a coach calling plays to your attributes. So I think it's, becoming a fucking disaster over there. I heard Davante Adams start talking about what's going on with, we don't got time to wait. We need to figure this out now. You can tell he's clearly unhappy. It's a big difference going from A-Rod to a Jimmy G, even though they're fucking force-feeding Davante Adams the ball. I mean, the guy's on pace for 700 catches at the rate that they were going against that Pittsburgh night game. But my 2 biggest takeaways, Jimmy G actually looks like he's digressed a little bit, and I think it's clearly showing. I mean, he's making, even for Jimmy standards, insanely bad interceptions, and he already is getting, you can tell, banged up behind that offensive line and getting crushed. And we all know, unless you've been living under a rock, he's a fragile guy, where injuries always seem to creep up. No matter what, no matter the circumstance, they will come, and they will come in full force to where it leads him to being out for a few weeks, potentially season. Who knows? We've experienced it all being a 49ers fan. So on to the next topic. Topic 2, upcoming 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Division game at Levi Stadium. There is no way that they are going to take this game. It's not a trap game. There's no way they're not taking the Cardinals serious, even though at the beginning of the year, everyone thought, oh, they're going to be tanking for Caleb Williams or a first-round draft pick. That is not going to be the case. Every single game they have for the first 3 weeks, they should have won their first game. They had opportunities. They obviously just beat Dallas, who I still think is a fluke of a team. They got a great defense, but their offense, I don't know about that. Now, one could be said they were missing 3 starting offensive linemen, all legit players, so that definitely played a role into it. But when we look at the Arizona Cardinals, I'm curious to see, one thing I heard about their head coach, Gannon, coming from Philadelphia, he was the defensive guy over there. A lot of people have been saying that he was a phenomenal leader. Like, he was meant to be a leader on a team. He was the leader of the defense while he's in Philly, and now he's the leader, obviously, of the Cardinals, being the head coach over there. Josh Dobbs, the Arizona Cardinals, he put out a video the other day. They didn't even have his own jersey for him to buy at the jersey store, which was hilarious. But you can tell he's feeling himself. He's, Micah Parsons and him were beefing, kind of taking stabs at one another, and he was sending funny video clips back. Super harmless, but you can tell he's feeling good, especially when they've been in every game. The guys have been playing very hard, and James Conner is no one to turn your head at. That guy is thick as fuck, and he runs really hard, and he could cause some problems. But I think the Niners are going to take this game just like any other divisional rivalry game. This is not going to be overlooked. No such thing as a trap game going against this squad, and I think the boys are going to be ready to play. The boys, they'll be ready to go. A couple other things as I'm just thinking about the Arizona Cardinals game. When you look at what the Niners like to do, the defense, Javon Kinlaw, who's been getting, I think he's had like a total of averages 24 snaps per game. The last game, they did something different under the helm of Steve Wilkes. It was a 5-man front. We normally like to rush 4. That's why we got all these first-round draft picks or big money players, is because we could pressure 4 with the quarterback, which allows us to have stickier coverage in the back end. Well, they've been doing 5, and we've been actually seeing some good results from it. It was the first time I've seen them do it was this last game, and it seemed to have success. Now, the one thing I will say is if you can already get pressure with 4, and then you put in a 5th like a Kinlaw, you best fucking believe we have to get pressure. I mean, there's literally no excuse with how much money and capital we have on that defensive line. It's not even debatable. They'll get pressure. It's going to happen. And so when you do that, it obviously gives more one-on-one matchups, and then those players take away, capitalize on the advantage, which for us is our defensive line. So I think Josh Dobbs is going to have a plethora of issues with our defensive line. And then, of course, we got the dogs flying around in the back end. I have been very impressed with everything that's been going on. And when we look at the offensive side of the ball, this is where my third point comes in. Brock Purdy. I keep watching national news media, pundits, all this, still saying the same shit about Brock Purdy. I don't know what it is that people have issues with just kind of accepting Brock for who he is. The dude's a fucking dog. Now, it does help that he's got weapons all around him, but what quarterback doesn't play better when they got a lot of weapons around him? It's not fucking Brock's fault that he got picked late in the draft, which allows a lot of capital to free up to pay big-time studs, big-time players. Side note, our wide receivers have yet to have a single drop this season. That's fucking dogs, So when I look at and I hear national news media, they're still like, is Brock the truth? Is Brock the truth? Look, I get it. From somebody who obsesses over the 49ers, I understand, not the biggest guy, not the most athletic guy, not the biggest arm guy, but the dude is a fucking player. If anyone has ever been in sports, anyone in the audience that I'm talking to right now, if you have played in sports, no matter what age, you will know somebody that you've come across that is a solid player, but when they get into the game, they're just a fucking gamer. That is what Brock Purdy is, and I hate watching with how good the team is, how fast of a start they get off to, that's what the conversation's been around is, is Brock Purdy that guy? Can he really last the whole season and do what he's doing? He has been reading the defense flawlessly. The Giants blitzed 85% of the time on that Thursday night football game. It is the most I've ever literally have seen, and when you look at it, how decisive he is and how much anticipation he plays with. Dude, there are not many quarterbacks in the entire NFL, let alone the world, that can do what Brock Purdy's doing with how clearly he sees what the defense is doing, regardless of them trying to cover it up and then, transition into press or fall back in coverage. Dude, he is reading that. He's slicing and dicing, and Shanahan is a big part of that. So, yes, does he have a stacked roster? Absolutely. Does he have a magician of a play caller? Absolutely. But there is no question, if you just go and watch Brock Purdy, the shit that he is doing, specifically the ones where he is just throwing the ball before the receivers are even out in their break, the intelligence it takes to understand what the defense is doing so you don't throw a pick, to have that type of chemistry with the wide receivers it's unbelievable. So all those that still have question marks about Brock Purdy, the fucking guy has answered it. Yes, he hasn't played a full season. He's had one loss in 11 plus starts. There should be no questions. There should be no doubts. Brock Purdy is that fucking dude. And I'm excited to watch him keep doing it as things progress here. One last update is Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch signed multi-year extensions. That's exciting. I fucking love it. I have always been a Kyle Shanahan rider. Same with John Lynch, of course, but Shanahan gets obviously a little bit more pub, a little bit more of a controversial topic. I'm a huge fan of the guy, both of them really, and the fact that they're signed extensions, that again just allows them to keep doing things the right way, have the confidence of the ownership. And what was interesting, Shanahan said today, or in one of his press conferences that I heard, the extension happened before the beginning of the season. So they could have started off 3-0 or 0-3. The extension was already in place. It just didn't get out until, obviously, as of recent. So he and Lynch, we don't know how long. My guess is a 3 to 5 year additional extension. Shanahan's been the head coach and John Lynch been the GM since 2017. So if he plays out through this extension contract, he will actually be the longest tenured coach in San Francisco 49er history. So I fucking love it. These guys clearly know what they're doing, even though a lot of fans like to say otherwise in certain circumstances. Yes, do they make mistakes? Yes, they're not perfect. It's the fucking NFL. Look at any other team, and you could literally pick them apart tenfold to what they've been doing since they've been under their tenure. So pumped about that. Shanahan also was talking about Mike McDaniel and the 70 spot that they put up and how he got to enjoy it since they had the weekend off with a Thursday night football game, and how that short motion that Tyreek Hill runs, the Niners call that cheat. That's like their code when they're doing the play call, because it's essentially like rugby rules that, we can have a guy running horizontal full force and then snap the ball. So he's already moving. So it's really hard to defend from a DB, safety, linebacker position. And although we don't have a guy like Tyreek in terms of quickness, we still got Debo. He ran a shit ton of short motions or cheat motions in the New York Giants game. Although it's pretty noticeable when he's not giving 100% effort, it still worked like a charm, and he got that from McDaniel, and it sounds like other coaches across the league have been using it now too. So props to McDaniel. That dude, I fucking love that guy as well. So last key piece of news, or just miscellaneous news, Brandon Ayuk is limited in practice. He'll be back ready to rock against Arizona Cardinals, which we felt his presence missed in that New York Giants game without question. And also Debo didn't practice. He's dealing with still sore ribs, which is kind of worrisome, the fact that he's still dealing with it. But then they also said his knee as well, too. So he's dealing with a knee and rib issue. Hopefully he's good to go. At the same time, with how physical Debo plays, historically, the numbers don't lie. He misses, a few games throughout the season. Just something to keep your eye on. And then also Dre Greenlaw was dealing with an ankle, and Juan Jennings was dealing with a shin, whatever the fuck that means, a shin. So, yeah, a couple injury updates for you guys. I will be back with post-game reaction. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. I will see y'all next time around. Peace.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex